When I'm no longer here on this earth, I want to leave with everyone the mindset to keep going legend. I think that was something that I was kind of telling myself, after college, when I was like, damn, I don't have an agent, I ain't get picked up, like, damn, what am I gonna do? And I just was telling myself, like, just keep going legend, like, because to your mom, to your grandmothers, to your siblings, like, you doing great. So, like, keep going, you know what I mean? Like, because to the people that care about you, they proud of you. So when I'm gone, I want everybody to know that, like, first, do everything wholeheartedly, but do it to where you can't be replaced. You know what I mean? And that's why I say just keep going legend, because, like, legendary is it. And if you strive to be legendary, then more than likely everybody around you is, like, nothing less than the best. So that's what I want to leave. It's just people to be passionate, be patient, move with purpose, but to keep going legend. So if I had to put in one phrase, just keep going legend. I think what I'm doing right now is just being consistent. I think I'm being consistently myself. I think just being a masculine, female presenting woman and owning it and not being ashamed of it, I think that's what I show. Like, that's how I demonstrate it. By just being myself, but being myself consistently in all spaces, right? So it's like, if I'm gonna have energy all the time, quote unquote, then I'm gonna have it all the time. You know what I mean? If I'm gonna always put my best foot forward over here, like, that's what I'm being. I think, and I know now I'm getting to a point in my career where it's like, people know no matter if I'm at the Bay Club, if I'm at Air West, if I'm at St. Mary's, like, if you're on the court with me, like, bring your energy, bring your effort, and be enthusiastic about being there. So I think that's what I'm doing now, just being consistent in that. Man, I always say Coach San was invented by the people, you know what I mean? The community, South Central LA, those kids, those families, they start calling me Coach San. And since I've been blessed with the title of coach, I've been working for Nike since 2014. Rest in peace to Kobe the GOAT. When this whole wave of, like, women and girls empowerment started back in 2014, that's where I kind of think it started. I was hired to be a lead female trainer for the Mamba League. And then since then, right, then it's like, oh, San, can you work with kids, like, on set, like, to do commercials? So I've tapped into that industry now, like a sports tech, a movement coach, to the point where it's like, they want my energy on set, where I'm, like, calling action, and I'm like, me? You know what I mean? Like, but on tour with Dick's Sporting Goods and Nike, traveling the world, teaching girls basketball. And my favorite thing about that is I am changing the narrative of, like, the female coach, or, like, where are the female coaches, like, because we're out here. So I'm expanding my family, my sisterhood with that. So those are some things that I've accomplished, man. Nike, Breonna Stewart called me out to New York last year and did her Elite 30 camp. So, like, that's love to me. It's like, so I'm just being who I am, and shout out to everybody who gives me an opportunity to come into their space and they empower me to be me. You know what I mean? So those are some things that I've accomplished. Places that I'm trying to go. I think it's more so the people that I'm trying to impact, because I feel like tomorrow's not promised and I can't go everywhere. But I think with, like, conversations like this, hopefully the message gets out, the positive message, the influence gets out. But if I had to say, I would say my goal is to get my own facility. I do want my own training facility here in LA. I do want to help parents with having to travel all over, everywhere, to get their daughters exposure. I think if I can build a space where it's elite, state-of-the-art, coaches, agents, people will come into this space knowing, like, they can find the next best thing or groom the next best thing in my space. So that's where I'm trying to go with it. Just provide a safe space, not only for the kids, but for myself. You know what I mean? Because it's not like every day where I can go to any gym and just get picked up or play. I might be sitting there for an hour or so. You know what I mean? Because, like, looking at me, So, yeah, that's where I'm trying to go with it. I haven't left the country yet to teach. So I do want to travel the world and, teach kids basketball, that we may not speak the same language, but we got the same heart. So those are some of the things that I kind of want to do. I think some other ways off the court that I've impacted and inspired others is just sharing my experience with other female coaches. Over the last year or so, I've done more consulting. You know, friends have called me like, hey, San, I got this opportunity. Like, what do you think about this? Or should I take this job? Or, you know what I mean? So I've shared my true experiences with these women and, you know, encourage them to, one, keep at the forefront what do they want, and if it doesn't align with their goals, like, not to do it. Because I feel like the training business is a little tricky because, like, it's a new thing, right? It's kind of like made up. And then like with social media, like it's so many people who call themselves trainers and coaches just because they can like teach a move, you know what I mean? But the when, the how, the why, the heart, that stuff people not capturing, that's another story. But I think just sharing my experiences with these other women and encouraging them to like not settle, you know what I mean? Because not everything is for you, you know what I mean? So don't get caught up in like opportunities of people saying like, oh, come work this camp. It's like, or are there other women working there? You know what I mean? Like, are y'all paying people? You know what I mean? Because a lot of time as trainers, we think we got to do it because we're going to miss out. So I think I've impacted off the court just encouraging women to like stand up for what they're worth. Get your value because you're bringing value to these spaces. So, yeah. Also, a little background about me, man. I'm a San Gabriel Valley kid, SGV, Player of the Year my senior year. So, you know what I'm saying? Go look it up. But family was based in Pasadena area. I think I was in like 4th or 5th grade. You know, mom moved us out to Azusa, California. Everything from A to Z in the USA. So that's kind of like where I grew up. And went to all the schools in that neighborhood, you know, grew up playing at all the parks, you know what I mean? So I was a kid who like bikes would get stolen. I done lost a few basketballs. I'm trying to beat the street lights home because I'm at the park until like, until I can't no more. And then, you know, grew up playing all sports actually, you know. Softball was really my pride and joy up until high school where I had the varsity softball coach and the varsity basketball coach both talking to my mom and myself at the time. And I wasn't knowing at the time that I could have played both sports. But I was just being this arrogant, like I'm a superstar athlete in Azusa. So I didn't try out for softball because I had to actually try out for softball. So I didn't even give it a shot. But I feel like I probably would have been a softball player if I probably would have stuck with it. But, you know, everybody makes their choices. And since I decided to stick with basketball, rest in peace to Brad Dolan. That was my high school coach who just passed. And then Joe Scherf, I call him my red dad and my Brad dad. You know, they took care of me, man. They asked me, they were the ones who started asking me like, hey, you want to play in college? I'm not thinking about that. I'm like, I ain't going to college. I'm going to the league, bro. Like, you don't know what is college, you know? And that's kind of like when Love and Basketball came out. So that's when, you know, as a kid, you like, oh, that's what college is? But they didn't sure going to class. So I'm thinking like, it's, oh, I can do that for sure. But nah, my high school coaches, man, they knew that I had to go play outside of Azusa. So if anyone knows anything about traffic in LA, it's like coming from Azusa and they had me coming out here to play with girls in Long Beach Poly. So now this is my first time playing with other black girls. I graduated high school in 2005. I think Sade was that girl back then. That's when Pat Summitt had Tennessee on Fire. You know what I mean? So now I'm playing with like all these players. And just to give a, you know, quick insight, it's like I went into my junior year with no scholarship offers yet, right? And at that time I had decided to go out with a friend, turning up. We got in a really bad car accident. We survived the car accident. And I remember my cousin telling me like, you gonna get that scholarship. And I think at the time I had like Ivy League schools. Like I had all these different schools. San Diego State was one of them. But not knowing that I didn't have the grades to get in the Ivy Leagues, whatever, boom. So she was like, you gonna get into San Diego State, which I did. So I had 2 summers. They ended up offering me a scholarship going into my senior year. First person in Azusa High School history, a female, to get a full athletic scholarship since the school opened. I made my high school Hall of Fame. My senior year, I was San Gabriel Valley Player of the Year. Went to San Diego State on a full ride. You know, that was a definite like culture shock, you know. Never really been to the beach a lot, never been away from home that much, but 2 hours was a lifetime, you know. Went from being this superstar player to playing, you know, the whole game to like no minutes. But yeah, ended up becoming a captain of my team, of my college team by my senior year. And I was the one player on the team who talked to everybody. You know, college people come in and out, you know what I mean? And me and Beth Burns, who's now at USC, like we have a really good relationship now, you know what I mean? Like we butted heads a lot, but now I see why she would get on me about like how I would come into the room, you know, because she understood that energy changes rooms, and she understood the energy that I had. Because I would be like, dang, why she always saying something to me, you know what I mean? Like she came in laughing too, you know what I mean? But so I thank her for holding me to that stature of like, you know, lead all the time. You know, be mindful all the time. Use your voice, your energy for good. You know, be mindful of that. Once I was done at San Diego State, I had to move back home because San Diego was pretty expensive, and that full scholarship and FAFSA money was no longer. Ended up living on 68th and Normandy. A college colleague of mine was driving down Normandy when I was walking my dog. Hit me like, San, I'm like, yo, you know, I like, oh, yo, turned around, bull, like, what you doing? I'm like, man, I need a job, like, I need something to do. Start working at the Boys and Girls Club, and that's the summer of 2013. I got hired as a game room attendant to watch 10 to 12-year-old boys play video games. But Challengers Boys and Girls Club sits on a whole block, soccer field, tennis stadium, all this stuff. So it was like, one day I asked my boss, like, can I take the boys outside? Like, cause they just arguing over these games. He's like, yeah. They get outside, you know, the kids, they super athletic, just talented as ever. They're like, I want to play you. I'm like, first off, boy, I'm 22, boy, fresh, boy, I will demolish you. My mindset was like, bro, I don't care who get it. What? So, you know, next thing that kind of led to drills. I kind of led to Coach San. And then the next year I got promoted to athletic director. The next year I have teams traveling. I got divisions. Bro, we got the whole setup. My boys get sent to Hawaii to play in this tournament, win the whole tournament. Something was going on with me personally, so I didn't get to go on a trip. But they called me like, we won. Everybody crying on the phone. I'm crying on the phone. And then, you know, the Nike, just the Kobe stuff, and then it just kept. And then, you know, now I'm being named top 25 coaches in LA County by 2019. And it's just like 2024, I'm 3 years into my tour with Dick's Sporting Goods and Nike for a campaign called It's Her Shot, you know. And I get to hire the like-minded women when I go to these cities, and we just, so yeah. Here I am now at the Bay Club. I've created 2 programs here with the help of the athletic director Lloyd Cook, Cardio Hoops, which is for like the members here, and then Skill Studio, which is for the younger people. So that's some background, man, on me. Yeah, I think what got me here is all my failures, you know what I mean? And I just continue to kind of fail forward, you know? It's like everything that my coaches said, and I was thinking about this the other day. I can remember all my coaches, and in a sense, like I've been blessed with all good coaches, you know what I mean? So that kind of keeps me motivated, because I want my kids, when they think about their coaches, I want them to be on that good side of coaches, you know what I mean, that they think of. So I think like all my shortcomings kind of helped me get to this spot, right? Because like if I would have made it to the NBA, if I would have became this WNBA player, like we wouldn't be having this conversation, because I would probably have to be overseas, you know, keeping my jobs, you know. So I think everything that wasn't and that didn't happen is why I'm here, right? But I own that now, right? And I tell my kids, like, that's the beauty of it. I don't only have to play basketball. I get to be at the games, I get to be fitted, I get to, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, just, yeah, the culture, I get to be around it. So just accepting the fact that once you're a basketball player, you're always a basketball player, I think will help with people's journey of going through it, right? And that will allow people to just to be on it versus like trying to be, just be, and just be where you at, you know what I mean? So, yeah, I think that's kind of like how I got here. And that's why I came up with unity and community, because I'm such a basketball head. I believe in teams so much. And it's like, we can make a greater impact if we all come together, right? And just like on a team, like you good at this, she good at that, she good at that. So it's like, okay, well, let's all come together, and now we can throw this like more impactful event. So that's kind of like how I approach the unity and community, like my toy drive, you know. And each year our team has grown. We got a team for photography. We got the hoop bus who pulls up with the basketball aspects. You know, I've teamed up with T. Ware and her family because they want to continue to give back. So it's like, okay, well, we have this event, like, all right, let's join forces here. So again, just still about having that team mindset of like, what can we do together to accomplish a greater goal? This holiday season, we'll actually having our 6th annual Drive to the Basket Holiday Carnival. I'm partnering with the one and only Rashonda Gray from No Gray Areas. And Rashonda is great, you know. This is our 6th time, like I said, coming together. And this year we'll be back at our alma mater, Washington Prep High School. We'll be having a holiday carnival supported by the Hoop Bus, you know, Southern Sweets, the Ware family, Parties Out of Sight. Last year we had DJ AJ pull up, so we'll see about that. And then, you know, it's La Santa be in full effect, baby. You know what I'm saying? We'll have a charity game for the kids around 10 a.m. And then we're looking to have our 2nd annual La Santa charity game where we'll have Grinch game versus top elves on the shelf. So the top elves won it last year and Jamil was the MVP. So it should be another great day.